Hi, I'm Kyle, and on this episode of the MWA podcast, Sean, Brian, Jeff, and I are asking Mary May the 5 questions. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out Mary's interview on episode 598. So welcome back to the show, Mary.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Fantastic. Well, before we get into the 5 questions, let's dip our toes in the woodworking news. So just a couple of things here. One of the things I thought I had to mention was Lee Valley has this new clip-on 5X magnifier. So it's these little clip-on magnifying glasses that will fit on your regular glasses, and you can just flip them down, and they just look cool.
Hold on. Temper that statement.
The monocle. It's like a
Well,
Mr.
I love the description that they put. They say this is exactly the type of magnifier you'd expect an evil scientist to
wear. That is actually
it's this little monocle thing that flips down, and it's only $5.50. And my next order, I'm definitely picking one of these up.
Yeah,
Don't know if I'll ever use it, but hey.
My last eye exam was like 4 years ago. I need new glasses before I buy a flip down X magnifying thing, but at the price point, shoot, I might just add it.
Mary,
That's
do you use
cheap.
anything like that to carve, like super detailed, deep stuff?
Do you have like those?
No,
I have
not yet. I've been resisting. I've got these glasses that are those whatever you call
Trifocals.
that. Yeah. Which actually has been a game changer for work looking far and looking close. So that's
You just change the angle of your head basically to I think my next pair is going to be bifocals. Per that last exam a couple years ago, I was right on that razor edge.
Yeah, I tried to do the progressive, and I just couldn't get used to it, but I'm going to try it again with my next prescription.
Yeah, I got to see. Because right now, it's really bad. In low light, I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't do anything. Barely see. I'm glad. I think, Kyle, you got contacts in?
No. As far as my sight, for normal around the house type stuff, I'm perfectly fine. For close up, I need something. And then I think my actual distance sight has improved over the years. Yeah.
All right. Well, for us mortals, we all says.
But I mean, for up close, I got to have glasses on.
Yeah. You might need glasses, Kyle.
Yeah. And
you might.
What's really upsetting, and I just wasn't quick enough on the draw, is during right after COVID, I had to go get my driver's license renewed. So I'm sitting there standing in line, and they want to do the eye check, and they said, "Oh, well, you don't put your head in there because COVID and stuff." They didn't.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So they go, "We're just going to hold this card up," and they just same card, right or left eye. And if I would have known, I would have took my glasses off. I could have read the card fine and be no restrictions on my license. But oh well, live and learn.
You know what though? I've had glasses since I was 6 years old. Like, it's a thing. But so ever since I've been driving, which has been 30 plus years now, I've always taken my glasses off for it, and I've got no restrictions. So I have just Oakley sunglasses for summer and sunny driving.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
fine. Like, that's my particular prescription, I guess, because I'm whatever, farsighted and stigmatism, all that jazz. But I can see great driving without any correction. It's in front of a computer that I really have a problem.
Oh yeah. See, I'm lucky.
That's a major thing.
That hadn't gone yet. I'm sure it will one day, but so far I'm good.
So we all need magnifiers. That's the end of the story.
Yeah. So with that, $5.50, you can get the clip-on magnifier from Lee Valley, which as always will be linked in the show notes. But you got to check this out, and I'm sure once you see it, I got to have one of these too.
Do they have one for 2 eyes or just for the one?
No, you got to have the monocle, just the monocle. Yeah.
And the pocket watch.
There's got somebody get 2 pairs and try to modify them so you can have them both down individually, so you can squint with one eye or the other, whatever your eye is dominant, or just to look at your family members with really big eyes. You could have some fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, on more woodworking related, Blue Spruce has some new card scrapers out, and these are straight 4-inch. Blue Spruce has been doing a lot of stuff with card scrapers here recently, but what I thought was interesting with these is you get 3 of them. I guess you might be able to buy these separately.
Yeah, I think there's.
Yeah, you can. You can buy them separately, but it's on sale now. Regular price $60. Now it's $50. So, but the three, they're in different thicknesses of steel. So you have a 0.062 inch steel, which is really rigid, and then it goes to a 0.032 inch, which, is a little bit more flexible, and then finally a real thin one at 0.015 inches. So looks pretty interesting. I've had a thick card scraper that I've used before. I have that StewMac thing, but that's like, I don't know, that's like quarter-inch thick or something.
Oh, geez, yeah,
But I've
that's different.
had another thick one, and I forgot who was making it, but I know Mark Spagnuolo over at the Wood Whisperer was selling these years ago, and I have one of
I have
those
a
that I
2-pack.
ground that's
I
real thick. Yeah.
I think Lee Nielsen I got, and there was a
Mhm.
thicker and a thinner. I could not tell you how thick they are, but
Yeah.
one is definitely more flexible than the other. The
Yeah.
thick ones, I don't know if that's the play,
Yeah.
because with this scraper, with a card scraper, I think you want a little bit of flexion, a little bit, most
Yeah.
of the time. I mean, I'm not an expert by any means, so
Yeah.
don't count me on that. But like with your thick one, Kyle, like
Mhm.
what's your experience with something that physically doesn't bend when you're driving it? I mean,
It's
it's
nice for some
basically
things. It's not for final scraping, but for doing some rough work, like if you're doing a seat or something. I ground
okay.
mine to basically the shape that the Lost Art press ones are, and
Yeah.
basically
That,
that
yeah.
that basically comes from Chris Williams, the Welsh chairmaker.
Okay.
And what was funny is when I was taking a class, I think it was the first class Chris Williams taught, is Chris had this scraper and everyone thought it was great. So we all took a piece of paper and traced the shape out of it so we could, go back and grind our own. And Chris did the same thing. And I think, Chris Swartz, and I think he worked with Chris Williams, said, "I'm going to sell this. Do you mind?"
Yeah. And now they do.
Yeah, I'm sure he gets a little mailbox money from it or something like that.
Sure.
But anyway, but these look pretty cool. These look
I mean,
pretty
for
cool.
$50,
Yeah.
I don't mind the little holes in them, just
Mhm.
as like little points for your thumbs to catch.
Mhm.
That's a
Oh, they're
little
hangers.
directional
Yeah.
help. Or hangers, yes.
Yeah.
Or just put them on a dowel and hang them there. And honestly, for $50, and that's not a
Yeah.
bad price point.
Yeah. And it looks like Blue Spruce has copied, like I said, has copied the Lost Art Press one too. They have a curved 6-inch. I don't know if that's the exact same shape, but it looks pretty close.
Mm.
Who knows? Anyway,
And for a small
I won't
fee,
get on
you
my
can,
diatribe about people copying other people's stuff, but
well,
anyway,
just
I did
fit,
that on our last episode or 2 episodes ago.
get
About the same company too. So anyway.
yeah, go further down the Blue Spruce rabbit hole, and you can find their burnishers, which will help you properly hone your card scrapers.
Yeah, I like those. What's those other burnishers that have the V already
The
milled in?
multi-step one, who made that?
I know Heartwood Tools carries them.
Yes, I know it's hardwood, but I
Forgot.
cannot remember the maker.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, I forgot, but those are really nice. That's the burnisher you need. With that,
And bury the lead. There's 6-inch and 4-inch varieties of these scrapers.
yes.
Yeah, so you want the $50, 4-inch, or the for $20 more, you get them all in 6 inches. How big are your hands? Blue Spruce has you covered.
There you go. With that, let's move on to our Patreon shout out. So who do we have to thank this week?
For sure. We'd like to give our shout out to our Patreon supporters. Today we're giving that big old shout out to Jose Santiago. Jose, thank you for supporting the show. And if you'd like to join Jose in supporting our show, you can go do that by going to patreon.com/MWA podcast.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jose. Well, on to the 5 questions, Mary. So what is your favorite tool? And as always, our limit is 23.
Goodness, where do I start? Okay, well, we're talking carving tools, and then I'm going to add a few more. Okay, so I was thinking
Okay.
about this. All right, so one of the tools that I actually use a lot, and this may surprise some people, is a flat carving chisel. It's actually just what they call a number 1, which is a flat one, but it is completely different than a bench chisel. It's different than a bench chisel in that the angle is a lot smaller, the angle of the bevel. And also, if you can get a fishtail shape, it's very good. Now, also with that flat chisel, you want it to be a single bevel. Okay, so because I mean, if you imagine working with just a bench chisel, works completely different bevel up and bevel down.
Right.
Yes.
So likes to dive if the bevel is up, kind of rises off the wood if the bevel is down. And same thing with a carving chisel. But the thing is, when you think about it, any shapes that you carve that are convex shapes, you can do it with a flat chisel. You can shape anything rounded with a flat chisel. It just takes a lot of different facets.
More and more, yes.
Yeah, so anything that is rounded, convex, you can carve with a flat chisel. And sometimes it's about the only one that will work. So I use that a lot for that type of thing. And as I mentioned, fishtails. So anytime you can use a fishtail rather than a straight one, definitely use it. It's worth the extra investment. And usually they are a little bit more expensive, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. I should ask you on our previous episode, but this is a good place too. Is there a brand of chisel that you recommend or brands that you recommend?
Yeah, the file Swiss made is really it's a very good quality, and it's probably the most available these days. With Woodcraft Supply pretty much solely selling them in the US. There's a company in Canada called Chipping Away, and they also sell the file Swiss made, but it's really good quality, and like I said, it's probably the most available. But there's all sorts of there's German tools, Dastra, Hirsch, Two Cherry. What are the other English ones? My brain, Ashley Isles.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, but generally the European ones are really good. If you can get a hold of the RU fishtails, I don't know if they're making them anymore, but if you can find them, they're beautiful tools.
Yeah, I know that company has gone through some ups and downs lately. What were you saying, Jeff?
Lee Nielsen used to carry them.
Oh, you used to carry them.
For you, the fishtail ones? Yeah.
I heard this last year they stopped making the really aggressive fishtails. I think they might still be making the elongi ones. They're basically just sort of like a fishtail, but they taper a lot longer through the length of it. But the fishtails, if you can get a hold of some of them that they made, they're really beautiful tools. So yes, and so also the size of the tools that I prefer are the full length ones that you hold on to both hands. Basically 8 to 10 inch long tools. So that's kind of my preferred ones. And the little brass mallet, about anywhere between a pound and a pound and a half. I like the brass mallet.
Okay.
Just because you can actually use it sort of to light tap things. Really, really light tapping, but it's still got enough heft where it still, pushes the tool through the wood. You can also use it for big, heavy pounding, and it's just a beautiful. Sometimes they come in steel, sometimes they come in brass, but halfway in the middle, pound and a half. Pound and a half, it ends up being a little bit too extreme, like just a little too hefty.
Yeah.
Lighter than a pound, you're having to do the work, and so
I have this brass paperweight that's egg shaped that I got for some reason. I forgot some sort of thing, and it weighs almost a pound. And it's like rounded, and then it's got a flat surface because it's made to, sit down.
Sure.
And I've used that with my chisel all the time. And it works wonders.
Just hold it in your palm and
just hold it in my palm,
Yeah.
Instead of choking up. Yeah. Well, instead of choking up on the handle, if you want, light taps, just do that.
I got a brass, brass like hammer, say whatever. But it was like a garage sale like a dozen years ago. I just happened to go there and I was like, this is nothing related to anything else here, but that's $1. I have this nice little like wood handled brass mallet, and it's pretty nice.
Nice. Yeah, I know Glenn Drake had a bunch of those little ones that he was selling. I don't know if he still sells those or not.
I don't know.
I think it was Glenn Drake.
Yeah, the thing you have to be careful with the brass ones is you don't want to use it like a hammer.
No, it's light blows.
Yes.
I mean, light repetitive.
Don't want to be nailing things on the wall.
No, I have hammers for that. For sure.
So the only other, I guess you want to call it a tool, but a material that I use a lot for my carving is double-sided tape. And I use that because a lot of times if you have something carved, cut out, and you want to stick it to just a support board or backer board, you stick it with double-sided tape, and you can hold on to the backer board, and you don't have to clamp this really awkward cutout carving. But I use that a lot. And the kind I use is the golf grip tape.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a golfer, go in a golf
yeah.
supply store, and it's the same thing. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing as woodworking.
I bet it's the same thing. I have it for regripping golf clubs.
Mhm. That's
You can
fair.
find it at, like you said, any Dick's or Golf Galaxy or any other golfing store. They've got something like it.
Yeah.
Have you ever done the thing where like you put tape on both surfaces and put some CA glue in between?
I have. Yeah, I have, but I use a double-sided tape, but
Yeah.
yeah, that works fine too. But you have to use the activator. That's the
With that.
with
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then just
Yeah.
really quickly stick it. But yeah,
Right.
double-sided tape with painter's tape. And there's a particular kind of painter's tape that works better, and I can't remember what that is.
Blue, like a color, because I know blue is the
Blue,
standard.
they said not
painter's tape.
necessarily the blue, and I can't remember if it was an orange one or I don't know.
There's orange and green and white and
Yeah.
everywhere in between.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've done it with the blue before.
I've
Well,
seen
there's
it
there's
done.
a smooth blue and a crinkled blue,
Okay.
I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen like the labeled blue and the not labeled blue. But
I don't know.
It's the dollar store blue and the
it is. It
Yeah.
kind of is.
Yeah.
For years, I saw people using stuff with labels. I'm like, I've never seen that
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
I never had it. But now,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Now
Anyway.
the thing about the golf grip tape is if you've got something really, really fragile,
Mhm.
you can actually release it with a solvent.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
nice.
yeah. I mean, I use like
Really-
acetone,
Yeah.
like to
Yep.
like release the bind of it.
Right, rather than kind of prying it or lifting it. And that really helps when you've got something just terribly fragile.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to look into that. I hadn't heard about that. That's nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty widely available and useful tool.
Oh, and I did look it up. Yeah, those little brass mallets were made by Glenn Drake. Of course,
Okay.
now I see all the sites or auction sites or tool sites. It says
Yeah.
rare and discontinued Glenn Drake brass
Yeah.
mallet.
There you go. Chase that down.
So they're out there. It's not new.
All right, Mary. So, who has influenced you the most?
Oh goodness, I would have to say that 17th century carver Grinling Gibbons.
Okay.
I would say probably the most, just by the inspiration of the absolutely amazing work that he's done. And obviously my teacher, Konstantinos Papadakis, my first teacher for wood carving, just he was the one that got me started with it and just got me right when I was ready to just dive right in. But he sadly, he just passed away last March, 88 years old.
geez.
And
Well, that's a good
Yeah.
run.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and but yeah, I'd say just the training that he did was really probably one of the more inspirational, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
No, that's
How
very cool.
long? How long was his school open for?
I think he continued to teach up until probably like 3 months before he passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes. Interesting.
That's phenomenal.
So, Mary, what's your white wow? What's that one thing you haven't made but you always wanted to make?
Well, it's probably what I'm working on right now, I would say.
Oh,
I
that
would say
fireplace.
it's that fireplace that is that Grinling Gibbons-esque. I don't even want to say that because I don't want to be compared to Grinling Gibbons because it's a different world. But it's that style of carving, this very deep, floral, layered carving. But yeah, I would say just pushing past that comfort level of working on something that I've never really worked on quite extreme and thoroughly enjoying it. And so after I finish this one, then what am I going to do?
Well, yeah, that's the next
I
thing,
got to
right?
think of something even more extreme.
So right now you're kind of living the dream right now.
I'm living the dream, yeah.
Living the dream.
Well, so have you looked or studied carvings and said, how in the world did they execute that?
Oh, yes. When I
Yes.
went on the tour, the
Yeah.
Grinling Gibbons tour with when I brought 14 people over to England, we had the opportunity to go and kind of look behind and look sideways at some of these carvings. And from face on, you think that is absolutely impossible. But looking sideways at it, all the secrets come out. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, that's how he did that.
Oh, that's how
It's
that's
not like
supported.
airborne like that. It's
Yeah.
actually supported in the back.
Sure.
And, because how could it have lasted 300 years anyway? So,
Yeah.
something had to be, magical or something. When you have the opportunity to actually study it and discover the secrets of the Grinling Gibbons, then it's like, it is possible.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Well, have you studied any of the Asian carvings? Because I know they have a rich tradition in carving.
I haven't really had much opportunity for that. I would love to go to Japan. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to. But no, I really haven't. I've kind of stuck more with the
Western.
European styles, the sort of period furniture, American furniture, that type of thing.
So then, next question: what is your number one tip for fellow woodworkers / carvers in your case?
I would say don't be afraid to dive in. I think people get very concerned about making mistakes, and those mistakes are really what I think make the pieces interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also those opportunities for a little extra shape, which I've discovered that a lot with this carving of this very deep relief. I've discovered a lot of things where you break a little corner of a leaf off or a petal of a flower and you say, well, a little bug ate that. So
Carve a little bug next to it. Yeah.
Right.
Away.
and then you have a story to tell. It's like, see that little area right there?
And that's the thing, like the detail, like we're always our own worst critics, right?
Oh, yeah.
But like if you can look at that and if anyone would ask like, well, why does that leaf look like that? And you can tell that story.
Yeah, right.
It's there, it's in there. And then somewhere, I mean, it could be on the other side of the mantle, but have a little bug and go, that little bastard
Yes.
did all this.
Yeah, and I think people expect. So you think about the period furniture, 1780s, 1800s furniture that you see a lot in America, and a lot of that it wasn't very intricately drawn on. It was very basically you have the tool in your hand and you make that cut. Let's say, for example, for this example is maybe a shell. You have the exact shape of the tool that makes that shell. I'm convinced of this, that they didn't have transfer paper and draw all the designs on precisely. It was more of kind of an evolution. And what happens is with that is it ends up actually appearing more natural instead of very locked in. And very, it kind of loses some rhythm if it just gets too locked. And I think some people, when they're first starting to, even when they're doing like reproductions, they got locked in on exact how it was done in the 1780s and exactly it was that. But you got to sort of let it flow because, I mean, that's one thing that I learned with writing the acanthus leaf book is the flow of it is really very organic. And if you lock it in and if you get too precise and your muscles get too tight when you're trying to carve it, it's just going to look very locked in and it's going to not going to look relaxed. It's not going to look flowing. And I think that's one of the things that I see a lot as people get too tight and too wanting to be too precise instead of just letting things flow and letting things flow naturally and comfortably.
Yeah, and when you do that, you're usually white knuckling it, and that's when mistakes are going to happen. And yeah,
Right. You start cramping up.
yeah,
Not good to cramp up when you're carving.
So what's your go-to finish?
Oh, I'm not a very good finisher. I'm actually terrified of finishing my wood. My carving.
Just spray with all those little areas.
Polyurethane spray. No.
Sure, no.
No, actually, you know what? So I use a lot of basswood, a lot of softwood, especially for classes and beginning carving. So basswood and butternut, comfortable, easy wood to carve, but finishes horribly because it's so soft. And let's just say you're just going to throw some stain on it. It's just going to get so blotchy. Every tool mark will just get completely different look. So what I typically do, especially for very shallow relief carvings, if I want it to stand out a little bit more, what I do is I just put brush on 2 coats of shellac and don't even ask what kind of cut it is because I know there's going to be all sorts of woodworkers out there who are going to say, what kind of cut is it? What number is it? I buy the can.
So
it's a Zinsser cut.
shellac.
Zinsser flavored.
Yeah. Okay.
I know. I'm just going to get kicked out of the woodworking world.
No.
And I thin it down. I actually put denatured alcohol in it, 1-to-1 thin out. So I don't even know what that thin, what
half cut. Okay.
Yeah.
that would be. But it's just basically so that you get a very, very thin coat. All right. Do a light sanding between coats. And I do 2 coats. And what that does, basically, simply to seal the grain. You can do however you want to do that with shellac
Okay.
or
Right.
lacquer or whatever, but seal it. And then what I do is I basically take any glaze, any color, and I brush it on, just slap it on all sloppy, and I wipe it off. And I actually brush out the corners. All right. So brush out, not completely, but kind of brush it out so it doesn't look clumpy, right? Inside the deeper areas of the carving. And that basically just gives it a lot more depth. It causes the deeper areas to show up a lot darker, obviously. And it really makes the carving stand out. And so that's what I do with a lot of especially the shallow relief carving that just need a little bit of assistance in showing the depth. But I don't get too carried away with it either. It's just, I wipe a lot of that stain out and just leave a kind of a faint stain, really more of an antiquing at that point.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be difficult with your relief carving where you're exposing all manner of grain, where some will soak it in, some will resist. And so to make that consistent, it's a fight, I'm sure.
Yeah. Now, I just did an experiment this last week. I just put some wax on a piece of basswood and just brushed it in just with a bristle brush, a hard bristle brush. And then I put the stain on top of that, and it worked beautifully. The wax, I don't know. I actually liked it better than the shellac process, but it sealed it enough so that any kind of color stain did not soak into the wood. So
Right.
anyway,
Yeah,
might
it'll do that.
experiment with that a little bit more.
Well, if you're going to experiment, I'll throw in one of our sponsors, which is Sutherland Wells, and they have a lot of soft wax with tung oil embedded into it, and I think they have like 2 or 3 different types of waxes, and it's
Okay.
all it's all natural stuff. It's low VOC, so I don't know. Give it a shot.
Yeah, like I said, I'm actually terrified of finishings.
Yeah.
Anything that will help. I'm so afraid of finishing that most of my stuff in my shop here is just
Well, I will say the great thing about Sutherland Wells is, a family-owned company, and you can call them up and say, "Here's what I'm trying to do. What would you recommend?" and stuff like that, and they could kind of walk you through it, their different products and stuff like that. So
right. Nice.
interesting. Well, with that, Mary, where can folks find you on the interweb? Should they wish to take a course or whatnot?
Sure. My online school and also the listing of in-person classes is marymaycarving.com. And yeah, you can just check that out and see what it's all about.
Fantastic. Well, Mary, we greatly appreciate you coming on. It was quite a delight to have you, and you got me interested in carving. I must say,
Right.
it's something I make jigs, but I kind of dabble in chairs and Windsors and stuff. I've always wanted to look at some embellishment and stuff like that. And I think that's the perfect thing. I'm definitely going to have to look at well, I already have looked at your online catalog, and you have some interesting stuff to do there. And I might have to come take a visit because you're almost within a day's drive of me here in near Galveston. So
Texas is big.
yeah. Well, that's the longest part is getting out of Texas, but,
Right.
yeah. But again, thank you so much for coming on. It's been absolutely delightful to have you.
Well, thank you for
100%.
having me. I had a good time. Thank you.
And that just about wraps it up for this show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on the podcatcher of your choice. Just search for the Modern Woodworkers Association. And while you're there, please leave us a review. You can follow us on Instagram at MWA_podcast. And if you'd like to support the podcast, go over to patreon.com/MWA podcast. But the best thing you can do is tell a friend. Word of mouth goes a long way in sharing our discussion.